Guys, welcome to the Merry Boozers RC channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to use a Spektrum programmable computerized radio to run your Tamiya semi-truck or any other scale vehicle you want. One of the issues I ran into when I got mine is I had some ground transmitters, but I really wanted to use one of my air transmitters that have a lot more channels in them. And I already have these really fancy radios, and a lot of you guys at home already have NX6s or whatever. So what I've done is set mine up, and I'm going to show you how to make your throttle all the way down, and then as you progress your throttle, you get forward, and you can do it as a creep and crawl with this. And I want you to be able to flip a switch and then have reverse. As you can see, flip the switch, and now I go forward. And then we have our steering over on this side. This makes it to where we can use our real fancy computerized radios to drive our little semi-trucks or our other scale vehicles. I also have 20 extra channels now to use for whatever I want, which is a lot for a ground vehicle. So, you know, I was able to use my air receivers, and everything works just like it should. So, what I'm going to be showing you today is how to actually program this. We're going to get down on the bench. I'm going to be using the NX8 radio. I had to remember which one it is, this one right here. It's kind of the in the middle of the road kind of transmitter for you guys that are looking for a good transmitter for your airplanes and for your trucks. And the NX8 kind of covers all those bases. But it will be the same whether you're using any of these other radios on the table you see. This is a DX6E, the NX6. This is the old DX8. The only radio that I've found you can't do this with is a DX6I. So little heads up, I've tried this on all the different Spektrum radios that I have around me, but the DX6I is the only one I can't find a throttle curve menu in. So any of the other ones are going to work, but try and stay away from this one. It's an older transmitter, but there are still a lot of them floating around. So let's get down on the bench and let's get to start programming. All right, guys, we're down here on the bench. We're getting ready to program our NX8. So what I've done is gone on and hit these two buttons. I've added a new model, and then I've named it Truck. And that's all I've done at this point. Oops, she's talking to me. And right now we're on what's called a blank acro model. So if I scroll over once, we can see our monitor screen. Now the way an airplane throttle works is you have negative 99 at the bottom stick, and you have positive 99 or 100 at the top stick. And at the center position, you have, I can't get it right on there, they're so sensitive, but it'd be 0 at the middle position. So what we want to do right now is make it where when our throttle stick is all the way at the bottom, it's at 0 instead of negative 99. The way we can do this is if we hit this middle button and we scroll down to Throttle Curve. We're going to go down to where it says Inhibit. We're going to click that, and we're going to pick a switch at this point. I put mine up here on the gear switch, which is the top corner, but you can put this on any two position switch you want. I'm doing switch A. Once I do switch A and hit enter, we are now programming position 1, this black box right here, to be our curve 1. So what we're going to do is change this to 50, and you'll see the curve actually changing as we go. We're going to put it at 50, which is actually going to be 0. I know this gets a little confusing. Then we're going to take our next curve and we're going to move it up. And what we're going to try and do is draw a straight line from right here at 50 up to this corner. You're probably not going to get it exact. You can if you want to really sit there and do it perfectly, but there you go. And then what I can do is even go down here to the EXPO menu and hit that, and it'll make it a nice curve up there. So that sets up our first one. So do 50, 60, let's just do 70. Let's make them all even numbers. I don't really like that. I'm going to do 85. We're going to do like 73. I lied about the even numbers. And it makes it a nice straight line across there. Now what we're going to do is flip our switch physically. You can see that the little line moves over to the other one. We're going to go down to curve, and we're going to switch to curve 2. Now, as you can see, the two boxes down here are white. We're going to click on the 0 box and make it actually highlighted. Now we're going to go up here And we're going to do the same thing again, but we're going to make it positive 50%. And then we're going to go down to the next one. We're going to make this one like 40. We're going to draw our little line again. But this time we're drawing towards the bottom of the screen. Grab our last one and go all the way down to the bottom. Now what you can see, and you got to do some little fine tuning here at the end to get everything just how you want it. Like that. So now you can see we have a line all the way down to the bottom in position 0. So if we switch back and forth, curve 1 is this way, curve 2 is this way. Now what we should be able to do is go back and go to our monitor screen, and now you can see we're 0 all the way down. Now we're in reverse with the switch this position, and if we flip that switch, now it should go towards the top, and it does. So now we have forward and stop, forward and stop, flip the switch, and now it goes to the bottom, reverse, forward and stop, forward and stop. So now we have programmed our throttle stick to be forward and reverse. At this point, let me get over to the model and we'll fire it up and bind and show you how this works. All right, guys, so we have the truck all set up here on the bench. I have taken and put in my throttle cable coming from my ESC into the throttle port of this Admiral receiver. I'm using an Admiral receiver right now because I have these sitting on the bench. This isn't an airplane, so I'm not worried about mixing brands here. It's okay. It's a DSM-X receiver. It's not going in an airplane, so if it loses signal right now, all it does is stop. So perfectly fine to use this here. I've got 10 channels that are open. Throttle has got my ESC plugged into it. I've got my servo plugged into the aileron because I want it on this stick over here, which is our aileron channel on a normal airplane. That still leaves me with all these open ports, and this is way cheaper than buying a big, gigantic, either Spektrum or whoever, different brand one. So that's why I'm running this in the truck. It's also an airplane one, so this is going to have great range. I have plugged in a bind plug, which if you're into cars, you may not have seen these as much as we do in the airplanes, but bind plug, we're going to plug that into the bind port, and now we can plug our airplane battery in, or whatever battery you're using. In my case, it's a 2S LiPo. I'm going to turn my power on the truck, and you can see that my Admiral receiver starts to flash. At this point, I need to turn my radio off, and I'm going to hold the bind button on the top of the transmitter, and I'm going to turn the transmitter on. Binding. I heard the truck arm. I'm going to go on and pull my bind plug out at this point. And now we can test and see if our stuff works. So if I turn the wheels turn, which is great. If I start to advance my throttle, we get forward. I can flip my switch, and this is going to activate the brake. And then I'll have to go down and back up, and now we should get reverse. And we do, we get reverse. Once again, flip that switch. As we start to put the throttle in, we get forward. Flip that switch. You get brake first and then reverse, which is how the ESC is set up. There's really not a workaround around that brake option, so you just kind of have to bump it a little bit. But yeah, forward, stop, flip the switch, you've got the brake first, and then you have reverse. That's it, guys. That gets that. And if you want a little more advanced thing, one thing I like to do, like this truck has a 3-speed transmission, what I'm going to do is put my transmission into aux 2, which is normally your flaps position. And I'll show you how I do this normally to where you can have a nice, easy 3-position switch to program for this 3-speed transmission. So give me a second to set this up and we'll show you that. All right, guys, so this is part of me being an airplane guy of why I like to do it this way. But if we go back to our truck, everything's set up for our throttle and our steering now, but now we need a 3-position switch for our 3-speed transmission. Now there's other ways of doing this, but I know I only need one 3-position switch right now, so I'm going to do this kind of a cheating way. System setup, yes. I'm going to go down to aircraft type. I'm going to change my wing type to 1 aileron, 1 flap. This is going to add another menu into the airplane menus of this transmitter. When we go back now and go to their options, there is now going to be one called Flap Systems in here. If we go down there, we can click on that, and I usually put my flaps here, so I'm going to put my 3-position drive gear here. We flip that switch to D and hit enter, and now you can see we have all 3 positions here that we can assign and set up. So if I flip the truck over where y'all can see what I'm doing, this is when having this fantastic Ernst stand comes in really handy. If y'all want one of these, they're linked down in the description. Let's see. Give me just a second. Let me get the second camera running for you. So this was the stand I was talking about. Very handy because you can move your truck all around. But what I'm showing you here is I have my 3-speed transmission down here. What I need to do is take on my receiver. Flaps on an airplane are always going to go to aux6 out of or aux2 out of default. So if I take my transmission and put it into aux1, not aux2. It's awkward on this because some of them label the gear channel as aux1 and then the next one aux2. So you got to look. It's the one next to the gear channel. So it'd be the 6th channel on a Spektrum receiver. Anyway, you need to put it into the same one. So whatever's next to gear, or it would be aux2 if there was no gear. It's confusing, I know. Anyway, that's what channel that the flaps are going to go to. So if we power on the truck now, position 0 should be right in the middle. So if I go to position 1 and I go up here to the flap menu of 1, I can actually adjust it on the fly now. As I make my adjustment, you'll see that the servo actually moves. So if I want to make it all the way in, and with the truck it's a little odd because you got to make sure, see right now I'm not actually into a gear. I don't think it's all the way in for a gear. Oop, it is not engaging. Gotta find that gear sweet spot here with these trucks. And there it is. Now it's in high gear. So then position 0 should be the middle position, and it is. And then if we go all the way down and flip it all the way down, we can start moving it forward until it clips into that slow gear. And there it is. So now that's an easy way that we can adjust it on the fly. So now as I flip through the 3 positions, you can see that it actually switches between all 3 gears. So we've got our crawl and our medium and our high gear. We'll go a little faster. We flip between 2 positions. Anyway, so that gets our gears set up in an easy way. So there you go, guys. We've got our truck all set up and ready to run. Now we've just got to finish our assembly. One thing I want to quickly mention is our Ernst manufacturing stands here. These really help when building these little semi trucks or any other kind of truck. They're adjustable to make them fit whatever kind of vehicle you're putting on it. You get the nice storage trays underneath. This top part here, if we take our truck off, it actually has little pegs to where you can move this all over to fit different size trucks. It just fits my Tamiya semi-truck perfectly right there. There is also a piece that goes in here to make it taller. It's sitting over there. But it's really nice. You get kind of like a lazy Susan to work on. Like I said, it's been really helpful on the truck because I've been able to set it here. And you know, if you're working on anything, just like with our airplanes, if you need to work on the top side, you can put your truck in here upside down and everything's off of it where it's not going to get scratched or beat up, and you can get right in here to your differentials or anything else. Been super helpful on this assembly. If you want one of these, I'll have them linked down in the description. And I hope this video, guys, makes this a little easier. I was on some of the different forums and I just couldn't find a good answer on how to do this, so I just had to sit down and start programming. So hopefully this video helps you. If you're new to the Mary Boozer's RC channel, please go look at some of our other RC content. We have plenty of it out there of airplanes and RC 101 programming stuff. And we would always love for you to hit that subscribe button and be friends with us. So without further ado, guys, we're going to let y'all go. We'll see y'all in the next video of the Mary Boozer's RC channel, and bye. Bye.